Yes, now we're cooking. You know what this needs? A bit of copper powder. There we go. And a little brass dust. Tiny pinch. A little bit more. There we go. Just like Mama used to make. Insert cool intro with awesome music here. Hello all and welcome to a scrapping and casting video. Slightly different than what you're used to from me. Let me explain what's going on here. So as a scrapper, you come across quite a lot of power cables and devices which have the plug that goes into the power socket. Now for every country they're different, or at least for parts of the world they're different. These are the ones we have in Europe that are grounded. So many people don't know, I mean scrappers do, but these pins are usually brass. Quick way to find out is it magnetic? No? Then it's probably brass. Another way to find out is with either a file or a Dremel, because I'm lazy. I hope it shows up on camera. You can tell it's kind of yellowish under the layer of, what is it? Usually nickel. So getting these out of the plugs for some countries is quite easy, but these are, well, quite tedious, and there's a little bit of copper in there still that if you was to pull this out, you might actually pull the copper out with it, but most of the time they just break, and a lot of brass stays in there and the copper stays in there, and getting this part out is even more of a pain. Now you got the non-grounded ones. Oh, this is actually a serviceable one. These are good. These are the, I think we call them Pirilax. These usually have either two phases, two neutrals and the ground or the earth. Sometimes they have three phases and one neutral and the earth. But these are usually for induction cookers. These are used because they have a high power consumption. These are good ones. These are easy to take apart. I'll do that later. There we go. Oh, these are phone plugs, at least the ones over here. And these are usually easy to take apart. And pins are also brass. Also sometimes they're steel. Right, so these are the non-grounded plugs. Usually these are pretty easy, especially if you cut them really short like this. Then you can grab them and just pull those out. Well, what's the reason for this? I got a whole bunch of them, as you can see. I've seen a video by a snobby scrap picker where he basically boiled water, put these plugs in, and then everything became all soft and you could basically pull this out with hardly any effort at all. I think Cruiser Mac commented on that video calling it plug soup, and then other people followed. I've seen Ian Matthews do it twice now, I think, so that's UK plug soup. And I've seen someone, I forgot who it was, in Australia making Aussie plug soup. I'll put links in the description to those videos. I'm thinking of doing Dutch plug soup, because I would say Euro plug soup, but Ireland also being in the EU, but using the UK plugs, so that wouldn't be fair saying Euro plugs. So Dutch plug soup. Let me find a pot and a pan and set up my little electric hot plate and make some soup. Right, let's set this to maximum. Got one of the bigger pots that I found. I actually found this in my dumpster room. This is cast aluminium. the whole thing. There's no steel or whatever on this. The reason for me finding a lot of these in the dumpster room is because in the building they basically cut off the gas and everyone went over to induction cooking. And aluminium, not being magnetic, gets thrown away because it doesn't work on induction. So I swiped them all from the trash, and now I can either melt the pan itself, which I will do in a future video, but for now, let's make some plug soup. Let's just toss a couple of these smaller ones in there. This is a phone charger, let's not put that in there. Unfortunately, I don't have a lid for this thing. I'll use this oven tray for a lid. That should work. There we go. Yeah. It fits over pretty neatly. Getting these out, like I said, is quite a pain in the ass. I have some handy grips for those. Or you could put them in a bench vise or whatever. Sometimes I just take two pliers and put one on each pin and just bend them away from each other to see if I can break those out. This is quite tedious, and okay, they usually break like this. This is actually not bad because it broke at the very end. Come on, focus. But the bit that's connected to the little bit of wire that's still in there is now still in there. And like I said, getting this part out, that is quite annoying as well. Usually use like needle nose pliers and try to get that out. A bench vise would probably work better. Unfortunately, don't really have one. Yeah, as you can tell, this is quite tedious and a lot of work and quite tough on the wrists. Hence the plug soup. Ah, now we're cooking. Let's just test one. This has been cooking for quite some time. There you go, hardly any effort. Whole thing came out, including the copper. There you go. Now let's see about this bit here. This is annoying, usually. Still a bit fidgety, but way easier. There you go, even also with a bit of copper. This is great. Try one of the non-grounded ones. Oh, you can feel it loosening on the inside. There, easy peasy. Now this comes with a bit of the plastic around it, but that's quite easy to take off. But yeah. There we go. There was all kinds of stuff in the box. Even had a couple of these UK plugs in there. Unfortunately, this is a non-grounded plug, so this pin is plastic, but these two are brass. I'm gonna toss that in with the next batch. And a couple of these other ends of the plugs. Now these are the same all over the world because this is the side that goes into the device. I think these are basically for computers and bigger appliances, and then for your smaller appliances you get these usually. I think these are called like the infinity symbol plugs, or 8, like that. The other ends that are in the device itself, I usually snip off these bits that have all the tin on them for tin recovery, and take these pins out because they are also brass. So that's not useful for putting in the pot, but I'm going to take the pins out anyway. Found a couple of adapters. I'll just break the pins out of those because putting those in the water is probably not a good idea. And this is some of the stuff that I got so far. So it's quite a bundle of pins, and some broke off, unfortunately, but in many cases I was able to grab the little bit that was left and get the copper out as well. Most came out just like this. Some have a bit of plastic on them still, and a lot of the grounding parts came out in one go, so that's good. I'm going to snip these off and separate the copper from the brass while I wait for this to start boiling. I'll probably just put the other pan on top to serve as a lid, because unfortunately there were no lids in there. There you go. Should work. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. I wish I figured this out like years ago, because I've been messing up my wrists and my hands from trying to get these pins out. This is so easy. Just slides right out. Now this bit needs a bit of help, but not much. There you go. Just like that. Okay, so got everything done and set up nicely here. So from the small back ends of the plugs, can't really show you what these kind of look like because most of them are messed up, but the smaller ends, you get these things, and they are either phosphor bronze or plated brass. I haven't come across yellow brass ones, but then again I didn't do that many, so those are somewhat okay to take apart after being boiled. But my main surprise was these are very easy. especially if you have one that has a hard part here and the soft part, rubbery part on the back. When it's boiled, you just take it apart, take out the pins and the copper wire, and you get either brass or phosphor bronze. So yeah. And out of the small plugs I took 20 pins, just to weigh up what you get from 10 of these plugs. And I took all 20 pins and 20 of the grounding bits, the earth bits, to see what you get out of 10 of these. So let's set this up here and see what it all weighs. So take that out. Let's just put in these first. "35 grams of brass." It's not too much, but then again, those are really easy to take apart, especially after being boiled. Now do 10 of these, 10 of the big plugs. Well, what do you know? 10 grams per plug, basically. 100 grams exactly. I'm quite surprised. Even he's surprised. Oh my god! Yeah, let's see what the total is of what I got today. Add these in. So this should now say 135, yeah? Oh, I was quite a bit off. I was expecting it to be about a kilogram. 1538. So over 1.5 kilograms. I'm not sure how many plugs this were. Didn't count them. But that's not bad. Now the amount of copper you're gonna get out is gonna vary, of course, depending on the length of the cables and how much of it you get out. This is not gonna be that much I get. Oh, still 91 grams. That's not bad. This wasn't all the plugs though. All the pins, because here's one I made earlier. Well, not really. This is stuff that I've collected over quite some time, but this is before I boiled them, so these are even harder earned. Even got some UK ones in there. Some pins are hollow, some are really crappy, some are all chafed and burned, and some are slightly yellowish even. Let's see how many these are. There, another kilogram. So we got 2.65, well, almost. So we got 2.6 kilograms to melt. Okay, I separated out all these awkward shaped bits and got just the pins in here for the most part. This is gonna go first. This is the extra stuff that I got. So based on 2.6 kilograms ish, that should be 2 full bars. So I'm gonna fill up the crucible, make sure that's nice and full with molten metal, pour 1 bar, whatever is left in there I'll keep in there, and then dump more in, and do the whole thing again, and maybe end up with 2 nice golden bars. Graphite, gotta love it. There we go. Quite a lot went in there. That goes in there. This thing is becoming all messy. Right. On 400, that's a bit low. Probably from melting the pewter last time. So the melting point of brass is between 900 and 950 Celsius-ish, depending on the alloy. For this, we're gonna go at least a bit higher. The max of this device is 1150, so let's just stick with 11. Should be good. And now we wait a lot. I'll get back to you when there's some progress. Well, unbelievable. I was actually able to get everything in. The whole 1.3 somewhat kilograms of the first batch of the stuff that I actually did is in there now, with some room to spare. There's a lot of zinc burn off, as you can tell. The good thing this place is well ventilated. You got the garage door open, the back door open. And usually I sound like this because I'm wearing a mask. This is what's left, what I done earlier. All the other stuff, that'll be added later. I'm going to heat up the molds, set you up, and do the pour. Here we go. Tiny bit left, back in the crucible, back in the furnace. Yay! Why always when I'm filming? Oh well. Well, this looks solid by now. That goes pretty quick. See if we can get that out. There you go. Again with the weird layering. I think it has to do with something inside the mold, I'm not sure. Now for a pot of water. There we go. And now we have hot water again. Too bad I'm out of plugs. I have no idea why this black line forms, but if you give this thing a wire brush, it all disappears. It turns into a nice golden ingot. Right. Let's do the rest. Oh. Oh, actually still quite a lot. And that mess in there is no longer good. Probably. Phew. Yeah, and all this snow that's floating around, that's not good. Don't breathe that in. There we go. The good thing this is not a beauty contest, because these wouldn't win any prizes. It comes out completely dry. Slightly less bowly this one, slightly less black spots. It's weird, you see like three colors. You see the black, the copper color and the yellow color. After a wire brush it's all going to be yellow. Slightly more bubbles in this one. And a little bit of a bump there. Oh well. Let's get to wire brushing. So here we are at the end of this project. Here's one bar that I didn't do anything to when it came out of the mold. This one I gave a wire brush, so that's a big difference, as you can tell. It doesn't really matter if you wire brush these. I'm going to be remelting these anyway for a project somewhere in the near future. But yeah, you know, looks a bit better. And then there's number 3. So that's what I got out of all these pins. So thank you, Snobby Scrap Picker, for the idea of boiling water and cooking the plugs until they get soft, so you can easily take out all the brass pins. Wherever you may be, I hope at some point Snobby will return to YouTube in one way or another. I can't link his video because it's no longer on his channel. I am linking to some other people who also went along with the plug soup. While recording this, Cruiser Mac has actually put up a plug soup video. I'll link to that one. That would be Canadian plug soup. Ian Matthews did UK plug soup. And I came across Aussie plug soup by, I had to look this up, Patrick Coombes. I'll link to him in the description as well. And I believe Everyday Solars is going to upload her plug soup video after this one has been uploaded. So when that is done, I'll add the link in the description as well. So check out everyone's plug soup video if you're interested. This is what I do with my brass and collected pins. And yeah, that's about it. Hope you've enjoyed watching me messing around with all these plugs and getting the pins out and making some nice brass bars. So thank you for watching and see you on the next one. Silly me, I completely forgot to weigh them. Let's see, we had 2.6 something. Are we gonna end up with 2.6 something again, or is it gonna be lower? 2.68. Oh, 8. Nice. 9. So we lost a bit due to the slag or the dross, but not that much. I'm surprised. 2.6 kilograms of nice brass for future castings. See you on the next one.